The new job numbers are nothing short of remarkable. Unemployment is historically low, and more than 10,000 manufacturing jobs were created just last month. Here's Rick Smith to break down the numbers.
Job numbers out. Another good job numbers. No matter what the Fed is trying to do, no matter what Republicans are working on doing, job numbers still really good. 253,000 new jobs created in the month of April, beating expectations. Once again, 11,000 of those manufacturing jobs, bringing back those. It's one of these things where you go, I know the doomsdayers and the anti-Biden folks, they're all, it's bad. This is another month of beating expectations. 12.7 million jobs created during Biden's term thus far. Unemployment down to 3.4%, lowest since the late 60s. Black unemployment, historic low at 4.7%. Hispanic unemployment, historic low, 4.4%. Now imagine, and I was thinking about this today, imagine had this been what Trump was able to accomplish. Can you imagine the right-wing spin machine and just effusive with praise on how Donald Trump did this all by himself, did it all alone? Donald did it all. You've got more people now participating in the labor force than we had before 2008. Inflation's coming down, wages are higher. All this stuff is going on, and yet you talk to the average person because of what's being projected by our corporate-controlled mainstream media. And what you've got, what you've got is, people who are going, oh, the economy's bad, things are bad, we're in the wrong direction. I say we're going in the right direction. We're investing in infrastructure, we're reshoring manufacturing, something that I've been screaming for a couple of decades now. We're finally doing some of this. Understand, you can't just flip on the switch and everything goes well. Biden, like Obama, like Clinton before, like Carter even, inherited a mess, inherited an economy in crisis. And again, these are, we go through this. We go through a couple of years of a Republican presidency where they destroy everything, and jobs are going down, and the economy's, people are losing their homes and losing their jobs, and things are not good. And then Democrats come in and start moving in a better direction, and all the while Republicans go, see how bad things are? They did this, because they think we're stupid and we're not going to remember that. Wait a second. This happened because of horrible conservative supply side voodoo Reaganomic and bad fetish policy. I saw an interesting graph today that said under Democratic presidents, the average job growth per month was over 175,000 jobs per month, every month that a Democrat was in the Oval Office, going back to 1939. 175,000 new jobs every month. And you go, well, the Republicans must have done much better than that. No. In fact, 67, it's almost 3 times the number. 67,000 is what Republicans created during, and again, understand, we're talking the FDR years, we're talking Truman, we're talking Kennedy, LBJ, Carter, Clinton, Obama, and now Biden, versus the record of Eisenhower, Nixon, Reagan, Bush, and Trump. And the numbers don't lie. It's like the old Harry Truman quote. If you want to live like a Republican, vote for a Democrat. Because your life is going to get better. And that's true. The economic policies of investing in stuff and getting people to work and giving people the ability to earn a decent wage and get ahead, those are Democratic principles. Squeezing the quarter till the eagle screams before you take it out of a working person's pocket is not a good policy. And it's what Republicans have done. And for me, it comes back to, how do we make make it possible for families to move forward? How do we make it possible for workers to do better? And I had an interesting conversation today. It was one of these things where I've had this conversation got to be 1,000 times now. And it goes like this. And understand, no generation is unique. Every generation throughout the history of humanity, I am certain, has done this, has looked behind them and goes, those kids, they got it easy. When I was a kid, things were much harder. And it's true. It's back when the wheels were square on the buggy, it was probably harder to push that buggy. When they figured out how to make round wheels, got a lot easier. When they figured out a horse could pull it, got even easier than that. When they figured out a steam engine could pull it, so much easier. So every generation looks back and goes, I had to work harder than you. And this was one of those. And I know none of us like to have this, but this was one of those conversations of how young people are lazy, no one wants to work. And I'm like, again, do we have to do this? And the answer was yes. We most certainly had to do this. And, as you get this knee-jerk commentary that a segment of our population seems fixated on, my mind went to this place of going, I'm tired of this already. This propping ourselves up because we think we're superior to anyone else. But then I started thinking about it. I mean, we're fixated on the hot takes as opposed to a thoughtful conversation. And right now, this guy's hot take was, they're lazy. I'm the hero in my movie, so to speak. I'm the hero in my show. I pulled myself up by the bootstraps. I paid my dues. And it got me thinking. It got me thinking too, if I were a young person today, would I have done the same things that I've done throughout my working life? You can ask my wife, the 26 odd years we've been together, I've never not worked less than 70 hours. I've always been a chronic workaholic. It's one of those things, growing up poor, it's one of those things where you go, my kids are not going to suffer the way I did. And I think every generation thinks that way as well. But here's the thing. And this is where my mind is in this weird spot. I grew up believing that if you worked hard, you played by the rules, you'd get ahead. This idea that, if you paid your dues. And look, I think Generation X, which I am a part of, and I think we believe this, the boomers, I think, believed it as well, that if you work hard, you played by the rules, you put your time in, paid your dues, you'd make it, you'd get ahead, you'd do better, you'd have opportunity down the road, and it was going to be okay. I don't know that the coming generation, I don't know that they believe that.